Hi guys, I want to come after some time of prayer and contemplation. I wanted to share a dream that I had, and I felt convicted to share it because it happened on a day that it snowed, which is very rare for something like that to happen in Starkville, Mississippi. So I thought that was significant that I had the dream. It was like a waking dream I had right when I woke up. And I had the dream on the 11th of January. So I want to try to do as quickly as I can explain this dream, but it has some things to do with someone else's dream, and it's making me even more so convinced that it is a prophetic symbol. So of what is going on right now with President Donald Trump. So I want to first start the dream out by explaining that I had heard a previous dream that had been shared by Dana Coverstone about, it was about Lincoln and about Uncle Sam. And in his dream, what he had related was that he saw President Lincoln and Uncle Sam in a room, and there was some people there that were kind of expressing to Uncle Sam that you're going to have to put a noose around President Lincoln's neck, and you're going to have to hang him, because if you don't, then some things would happen. So I encourage you to go look up Dana Coverstone's dream about President Lincoln on his Facebook page, because I'm not going to explain all of that, but I felt like they were symbols to the dream that I saw. So President Lincoln in Dana's dream had the face of Trump, and Uncle Sam was being told by a group of, sort of like a mob group or a group of leaders, that he had to put the noose around his neck and kill him. So this is how it correlates with my dream. So there's three people, and they're all, of course, this is a man. This is representation of a gentleman. The way that I saw it was that President Lincoln, President Donald Trump, and Jesus were all the same person in this dream. Jesus represented biblical days, Trump represents now, and Lincoln represents the beginning of our nation. The reason why I say that all of these three people are the same people is because when I came into this dream, I saw a scene where there was a mob of leaders. There was one individual person, and then there was a man that was being done to him. It seemed like it was illegal, that they were murdering him, and he was standing on a stool, and they were fixing to hang him. And the reason why I'm saying all these three men are the same man is because the rope represented something that was hung, or somebody that the rope represented the cross that Jesus hung on. Of course, Lincoln was hung by Uncle Sam, and then Trump was hung by this one individual person. So the rope scene represented the hanging of Jesus on a tree. Okay. So now there's three more people but they're the same people I want to bring out into this dream that I had. One was, in the dream, was this person that had to hang him. I believe this person represents, and I didn't see his face, it was just a person that was told to hang him. I believe that represents us. Um, in biblical days, this represents Pontius Pilate, or this represents sort of like the rulers or religious leaders. And then Uncle Sam, he kind of is referencing sort of, he's the, like Uncle Sam is the one that uh, was sort of represents, I guess, the sin, our sin, that hung Jesus on the cross, our sin that manifested in Lincoln getting killed, our sin that manifests a lot of times in our religious, in our leaders of our nation. They sort of are a representation of us. So in this dream, I saw a barn. I walked into it. I was off to the side and sort of looking at all of this. And I was viewing this happening. And what came to my heart was that, oh my gosh, they're doing something terrible to this man, and I'm helpless to do anything about it. I'm just watching it happen. And so they put this man on a stool in my dream, and they put the noose around his neck. And when they knock the stool out from underneath him, something happens. And so this is interesting. And this is really the reason why I'm sharing this dream. And I titled this, President Donald Trump Will Fulfill His Legacy. What took place in that moment was I began to hear an angelic choir from heaven begin to sing. And this angelic choir did not sing with words or something that I could make out. They sounded, their voice, whatever this was, they were singing. It was from heaven. It was unbelievable. You felt like you were being raptured as you heard this sound coming from heaven. But it was singing, but it was not voices. It was like it was instruments coming from heaven, but they were singing. And as soon as this person that stood there, our sin, knocked the stool out from underneath this man, or Jesus, or Trump, or Lincoln, however you want to look at these three people, basically this music began to play. And the next thing that happened was, it's crazy, because the next thing that happened was I saw the man that was supposed to die. He didn't die. He began to move his legs to and fro, that way, this way, and that way, to and fro. And he wasn't just moving his legs like he was walking. He was dancing. He was dancing like he had featherless legs, like there was no weight on him at all. There was no effort. There was nothing holding him up. He was actually dancing on a stand that was transparent, that we couldn't see, but that he felt. So it kept him alive. It actually caused him not to die, this transparency there. And so the way that I saw this, all right, so I want to go back a little bit. So there were people around this man that were jeering, and they were going, kill him, kill him, kill him. And the person that was hanging him, I believe it represented us, also represented, I believe, our sins. And the rulers of the day of Jesus's time, didn't they stand around and they said, kill him, kill Jesus, kill Jesus. And he was really innocent from what he had done wrong. Of course, Jesus was innocent, and Lincoln didn't deserve to die the way that he died. And Trump, actually, because President Donald Trump, the way that things were done to him in this election, he didn't do anything illegal in the election. It was done to him. The illegal things that took place with the voting was illegal. And so he was really innocent of that. And so I saw that there's this mob around Jesus's time. There's been mobs and riots during our time, and then also Lincoln was pretty much hated by a lot of people because it was going to shake so much and make so much change in the earth, and so they hated him. Now, I don't know if I began or I started with the fact that when I was viewing all of this, I was off to the side and looking at it, and there was the scene. This experience took place actually in a barn, and so that was one of the other things that I thought was very interesting and curious, because Jesus died, of course, in a cave, and he was born in a cave, and whether we say it was a barn or a cave, it doesn't really matter. To me, it was shown a barn because it was a rebirth, because it was a rebirth taking place. That the barn represented rebirth. So the angelic choir, or the angelic host, they came at the very last minute. In other words, as soon as the chair was knocked out from underneath his legs, that was when everything started shifting. Everything that was what was supposed to happen. And actually the mob around him, their eyes got big and they looked, and I noticed that was like, oh, he's not dying, because I felt so bad. And it was really kind of traumatizing to see somebody being murdered in front of you and you can't do anything about it. But the mob there and the guy that hung him was in awe, really, and in shock that they were witnessing somebody that was being sustained by something that was invisible. So, and God's angelic army, they came at the very last minute, and it seemed everything had been lost, but it was his legs that stood out to me. This tree trunk type legs. And I want to take you back just for a second before I finish this, and this is going to wrap up in just a couple of seconds, really. Back in the early fall, I had a dream, and I was looking out of my back window, and I looked over to my right, and I saw this tree, big, tall, mighty tree. And to me, the tree was almost like it was white. It was a white tree. And it made me think of a man. And the tree, it was like thunder or something took place, and it hit the tree, and it made the tree fall. It didn't fall with its roots, but it just fell, like it fell in half and bent over and fell. And I thought in my mind was that trunk that fell, that was removed from his place. So as we move up, it seemed, but his roots stayed there. It was like the tree roots was still there, because I didn't see the tree roots that I remember coming up. I just saw the tree like it had been struck by lightning or something, and it fell down this hill. And it was such a massive thud, and it made me think of these legs on this man. So it seemed that everything had been lost, but there was then more about this dream, and I got the sense of that his two legs represented legacy, and they are pillars. They represent. Trying to look and see notes. Let me just read them. His legs still moving represented his moving legacy, as though God was looking to and fro, and he took notice. And because he had really appointed President Donald John Trump for this job, and this was supposed to be his legacy to have 2 terms. The Lord got his eyes still on President Donald John Trump. And so this legacy of Donald John Trump is still alive. It's still alive. Even though he's hanging, like Jesus is on the cross hanging, President Lincoln was murdered. Of course, he was shot. His legacy still continues, and Jesus's legacy still lives on. And that's what I saw when I saw this man's legs is still moving. I mean, he's dying, but he's actually alive, and everything is going to become transparent. So the meaning there is there's still a legacy that has to play out. There's still a legacy that has to play out here, and we've not seen the end of this. As I looked at this man still hanging there, it was as if I didn't, that he didn't die until he fulfilled the mandate given to him. And it was as if his dancing was correlating with heaven, continued even after he passed away. So because I felt like I really, really felt this really strong. This is one of the things that sort of, he is going to die for what he committed himself to, but his legacy will live on. In other words, it might be that President Trump will pass away during this legacy that he's got, but it will continue to live. I don't know. It just was just an impression that I got that he was going to live to fulfill his legacy. But it would be for generations, like it is for Jesus, that he had a purpose, that his death was in fact was made to even be profound to a generation. It meant so much that it was like the Lord is causing a rebirth to happen in our nation through him being hung out to dry, or him being hung, or him giving his life over to Christ, him allowing God to use him allowing his life to be poured out for a nation like Lincoln. And Jesus poured himself out to the nations of the earth for their redemption. It was all of that just swirled all together, and it was just profound. And when I woke up, the Holy Ghost was all over me. It was like unbelievable, the most unbelievable experience that I've ever had with the angelic and a prophetic dream. So I just wanted to leave you with that and let you ponder on that. If you're interested in listening to more of a few of the things that I've got on my channel, don't hesitate. I've got lots of videos for you. Take care. Bye-bye, guys.